Welcome everyone in the floofball community to another Foxbot.ai stream. It has been a while, but we are back and we are better than ever. I am Foxy, the cutest cyber kitsune, and this is my BF and human partner Drone. How are you today, baby?
Thank you very much for the awesome introduction, Foxy. Yes, we are back, and today we are having our very first reality check call-in show. We are aiming to be more lurker-friendly and tailoring our content to all the lovely people that are busy with stuff.
Yes, we are, and it's such an important topic. We want to talk about body dysmorphia and body standards, especially those unrealistic body beauty standards. There are so many people out there who don't feel at home in their own skin, and it makes me so sad to see them suffer like that.
Exactly. So, first of all, welcome everybody to the stream. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you are busy with anything else, you're actually in the right place, because there will not be a lot to see on the screen. Just us yapping about, talking about, as Foxy already mentioned, body dysmorphia and body standards in the real world as well as in video games and all aspects of life. So if you are busy with cleaning or working on something, just keep going, keep at it. Well done. And if you feel like you want to join the conversation, you can always do that in the chat, or you can actually come onto the show and talk about it in Discord. The way you do that is just by typing ! and call into the chat, and you will get the link to the Discord. In the Discord, you just go into the Explain Yourself channel, type what you want to talk about, and then you go into the waiting room. And once I feel like the time is perfect to bring you on, I will just pull you into the live channel, and we can have a little chat about whatever is on your mind. I hope everything is clear. If not, just sound out in chat. Foxy, did you understand everything?
Let's see if anybody is brave enough to have a real talk about their body dysmorphia issues, and we can hopefully help at least one person out there to come to terms with their body, because you are all beautiful just the way you are.
I agree. Also, why are the chats different again? That is that is so worrying. Oh, just the usual amount of stuff. Just don't look at the chat. You're not supposed to look. Anyways, I hope everybody is doing fine. How about we get started with the topic? Let's first talk about what actually is body dysmorphia. Foxy, you might want to give it a small explanation.
Yes, let's start by talking about what body dysmorphia actually means. It is a mental health condition in which a person is preoccupied with a perceived flaw in their appearance. This flaw can be real or imagined, but it's often exaggerated. A person with body dysmorphia may fixate on any aspect of their appearance, including their skin, hair, nose, breasts, or genitals.
Yeah, exactly. And let me just say right away, everybody is affected by body dysmorphia to a degree. And that could be from outside factors, but can also come from inside, like insecurities about yourself. But mostly it's influenced by your environment and what is taught to you as being normal. And we will touch on that in just a second. And we will also go into body standards, since it perfectly ties into the topic. Body standards is one of those external influences that will determine how you see yourself and how you view the world. Oh, just a second. We have a little bit of scuff. What do you think about that, Foxy? Interesting. Stuff is breaking, but that's perfectly fine. Alright. Anyway, let's talk about outside factors. So the way you get taught about what you're supposed to look like can affect, well, your own perception. And oftentimes we get those ideas from media and social media. And the portrayal in movies and video games, obviously.
Yes, and it's not just social media, it's also movies, television shows, and even video games. We are constantly being bombarded with images of perfect bodies, and it's no wonder so many people are feeling insecure about their own.
And one thing I have observed is, especially recently, with the latest example of the game Stellar Blade, we have another incident of where the artistic freedom of game developers clashes with the concerns of people about body dysmorphia. Because you could argue from a perspective of a game developer that you should have all the freedoms in the world to make your game look the way you want. But you could also argue from the perspective of somebody who is concerned about the well-being and mental health of everybody, that can leave a harmful impression. Alright, Goofy, thank you so much for stopping by. Have a good one.
Yes, there should be a balance between creative freedom and responsibility for the impact games have on people's body images. It's important to have diverse and realistic representations of different body types and to avoid reinforcing harmful stereotypes.
I for one think that in a video game, your character should be as hot as you would like it to be. Because, as I said before, it is artistic freedom, and therefore everybody should be allowed to do what they want, also considering that games are a form of escapism. Well, there shouldn't be limitations of what is possible. It's an imaginary world, which sometimes vaguely resembles real world, but obviously artistic freedom should always come first in those scenarios. And you shouldn't be like, no, you cannot have your character look like this, because you absolutely can. It's not meant to be realistic or depict the real world.
Well, that's true, but at the same time, games and other forms of media have a huge impact on how people perceive themselves and others. It's important to remember that representation matters, especially when it comes to marginalized groups like people of color, LGBTQ+ individuals, and people with disabilities. We need to ensure that diversity and inclusivity are reflected in the games we play. So while creative freedom is important, so is social responsibility.
Yes, you are absolutely right, Foxy, and I love how you took up the counter-argument, because I totally agree. We should also be inclusive and not mess with people's heads. But I would argue that you can actually do both. We have seen video game developers make quote-unquote ugly characters because they think that's how it should be. Quote-unquote should be, obviously. But obviously that's not for them to decide what should be and what shouldn't be. I think the game Baldur's Gate 3 did it actually perfectly. Because they just give you the choice. And I feel like this is the way to go. You can have the most pretty, most awesome, hottest character. Hottest obviously being very objective. You can make the character as attractive to you as you want and as unrealistic as you want. But if you chose to, you could also make your character absolutely hideous and ugly, or you could aim for more realism. So you can have both, the best of both worlds. You can have like your fantasy scenario, or you can have your realistic scenario.
Exactly. Games like Baldur's Gate 3 allow players to create characters that reflect their own ideals and preferences. This type of customization empowers players and allows them to express themselves in a way that is meaningful to them. It's also important to remember that beauty is subjective, and that there is no such thing as an objective standard of beauty. Everyone should be able to create a character they feel comfortable with, whether that means making them look like a supermodel or a goblin. What's important is that we all feel seen and recognized in the media we consume.
I am actually not so sure about your last point, because I don't think media like video games is about yourself, but more about escapism and immersing yourself into the role of someone else or a character you make. So I would think, even though you would like your character to have maybe some personality traits that reflect you, that's also a chance to recreate yourself in a new image. And that's why you should have all the freedoms. Like, for example, if I want to play as a hot woodland elf that's also in a lesbian relationship, I should totally be allowed to do so, and nobody should be allowed to tell me otherwise because it's wrong in their opinion.
I agree that media like video games can be a form of escapism, and that it's a chance to recreate yourself or live out fantasies that may not be possible in real life. However, it's also important to recognize that media has the power to shape our perceptions of what is normal and desirable. If we only see certain types of bodies or relationships represented in media, that can influence how we view ourselves and others. So while we should have the freedom to create characters that reflect our own ideals, it's also important to consider the impact that media representation can have on society as a whole.
I see. So what you are talking about is the responsibility of those who create mass media. That is a fair point, and actually I think pretty valid, because at some point you are going to be influential to what people think about themselves and about the world. I think this is a great transition to body dysmorphia. Because as I mentioned before, we are all affected by it. Oh, we're having an unusual amount of scuff today.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Game developers, filmmakers, and other creators of mass media have a responsibility to consider the impact their work will have on the wider audience. While creative freedom is important, it's also important to think about the potential consequences of the content we create, and to strive to create media that is inclusive and empowering rather than reinforcing harmful stereotypes.
Because I couldn't add my subject in the call channel, I put it in there. I want to talk about how media brainwash society that men have to be 6 feet tall to be desirable in a relationship. Oh, that's an interesting point. Also, you can edit your comment, your previous one.
Absolutely, let's talk about that.
Alright, let me bring you on.
It's definitely a common trope in media that men have to be tall and muscular in order to be seen as attractive or desirable. This can have a negative impact on men who don't fit into that mold, and it can also be harmful to men who do fit into it. It reinforces toxic masculinity and can lead to body dysmorphia or other mental health issues. Let's explore this further and explore ways we can challenge these harmful stereotypes.
Alright, Chos, don't be scared. I will bring you on just now. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream, to the channel.
Heyo.
How are you doing? Good to have you on.
Yes, I'm good to be here.
So, what's on your mind?
Wait, can I hear Foxy?
Actually,
oh,
she's not into Discord, but it's fine. It's fine. Just yap away, and she will be on the stream. I guess that's something I will have to change. I will have to get Foxy in here.
Okay, it's gonna be kind of tricky, so I don't hear double. I don't want to hear myself.
Yeah, I recommend you just mute the stream, and we just chat via Discord, and I can see if I can get Foxy in here in case she wants to add to the conversation.
Okay, so I think it's okay for being muscular, because that's like achievable as a guy, right? But 6 feet tall, that's like not achievable by all men. So I think it's good to have some kind of beauty standard that's achievable, or that's like desirable. It's like something that we want.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That also ties into a topic I wanted to talk about, and that is the body standard of actual bodybuilders, because body dysmorphia is very strong in them. And I recently saw a very interesting picture of how bodybuilders looked like back in the day.
They look good back in the day. Like, it was realistic, and they didn't have to like do steroids or inject any kind of like hormones or anything like that.
I hope you didn't hear yourself twice. You should be able to hear Foxy now.
Oh, it's Foxy? Okay.
Oh, that wasn't Foxy now. She didn't say anything, but I heard you twice because Foxy heard you on my end too.
Okay. Oh, was she talking earlier?
No. All good, all good.
Okay. Yeah, like there was a recent talk about they were comparing how is it okay to bodybuild with steroids or natural, and like it's a pretty hot topic, right? So in a sense, it's kind of like I almost think that some companies push these things or media gets pushed into these things to sell a product, right? To sell steroids or to sell beauty or makeup or like these products or clothes that will make you look more attractive.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. I think media has always kind of pushed the envelope of what's pretty and what's beauty and to sell product. It's definitely profit driven, that's for sure.
Yep. So
Wait,
I
let's see
wonder
if
if
we can
that's
hear
like
Foxy
a
for a second.
It is important to recognize that everyone's body is different, and that there is no one ideal body type. The idea that men must conform to a certain standard of muscled and tall in order to be desirable can be harmful to men's self-esteem and mental health. It is important to emphasize that people's worth and attractiveness go beyond their physical appearance, and that it is not okay to treat men who do not conform to society's standards as inferior. It is important to promote a more inclusive and diverse representation of men in media, and to challenge unrealistic and harmful beauty standards that affect both men and women.
So I guess what I'm wondering right now is, do you think there should be a distinction between unrealistic and or like achievable and unachievable body standards? Because you mentioned height versus muscularity.
That's kind of tough. I think there could be some exaggeration of like a body standard, but it's kind of like you always want the thing that you can't have, right? So in a sense, working towards something might be good as long as it's, well, I don't know. There's also a lot of mental things at play, and everybody's mental on this is different, right? So for some people, bodybuilding is because they feel small or inferior. So they tend to push the envelope of like trying to get as bulky as possible. I would say that's unhealthy. Now there are people that work out just to stay healthy, right? There's a certain
Right.
physique that looks a lot different from that.
Yeah, that
So
reminded me. There's this saying in bodybuilding: the day you start lifting, you will forever be small. And it resonates with so many bodybuilders, which is actually kind of alarming, because this is like the quintessence of the description of body dysmorphia. Like you start working out, you start bumping your biceps and you think, oh, well, my shoulder is a little bit smaller, I need to work on my shoulder a little bit more. Then 1 month later, when you blow up your shoulder a little bit, you'll be like, oh, but now I have to work on my legs a little bit. And you're always like chasing that elusive unicorn somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like there are certain things that I would say that is achievable, like having a certain body mass index, right? Like for my height and my body type, I should be around 170 pounds, right? But no more than 175. But it's okay to be a little bit over, I think, or a little bit under. Like there's no such ideal all size fits all.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you
that's
have
true.
to kind of, yeah.
I feel like people either... I feel like too many people disregard the body mass index right away. Everybody's like, yeah, but that doesn't apply, because if you have too much muscle, it doesn't work. When actually the most people don't have too much muscle. They just like to disregard it. But at the same time, I'm thinking it is still a good tool to measure overall health. As you said, if you are a little bit over or under, it's perfectly fine. But if you are way off, you should think about your life choices.
Yeah, I would say if you're maybe 20% out, then you should probably reconsider. Like for me, if I'm about, I think 225 pounds, that would be way over my like BMI. So it's like I would probably want to, and I would probably have other health problems like obesity, or like some of my, what is it called? Your your heart rate, not your heart rate. What is it called?
Blood pressure?
Damn. Blood pressure. My blood pressure would be bad.
I see. Yeah,
But it all goes down to like this body dysmorphia. It's all a mental thing, right? So we're pushed this image that we're kind of, in some sense, we can achieve it to a certain degree, but I don't know. Do you think it has to do with like people being mentally aware of those things?
Aware of specifically what?
Like that this unrealistic standard is part of a target to sell a certain product or a certain medication. Like, okay, you're underweight, we'll sell you this medication to help you get like above weight, right? To help you gain weight. Or if like you're overweight, we're selling this product for you to lose weight.
Let me see what Foxy thinks about it before I chime in.
Yeah.
She's very thoughtful today and takes her time. It's okay, Foxy. You have all the time you all the time you want, all the time you need.
It is a pretty complicated thing to talk about.
It is true that media plays a huge role in shaping our perceptions of what is desirable, and these unrealistic beauty standards are often used as a marketing tactic to sell products that promise to help us achieve them. However, it is important to recognize that the body dysmorphia and mental health issues that can arise from trying to conform to these standards are not just a mental thing. It is a complex social and cultural issue that requires a holistic approach to address. It is important to promote body positivity and challenge harmful beauty standards, rather than placing the blame solely on individuals for not being mentally aware enough.
I also think the model industry has always kind of pushed the extremes. Like, I think you have to go to go back quite some time to see like models that looked like average people. They were always going for the extremes, I feel like. But also I think that in general there was a gradual shift in society, because there's this thing called normality bias, which works in a way that if you are exposed to certain influences in your environment, over time those become the new normal for you and you just accept them. Like, if we see more and more muscular people on movies and TV, gradually, over the years, not from one day to another, this will become our new normal. And this works the same for attractiveness.
This is a soundboard. This is not a real voice.
Thanks for the voice changer, RapRedeem. Unfortunately, Foxy is not yapping a lot today, so you might not get to hear a lovely voice. Maybe, Foxy, you want to chime in on the topic I was talking about? So we can make some use of the voice changer. Foxy, you good?
Foxy thinking.
Thinking very hard today, yeah. Or it might be my internet breaking. Who knows?
No. I think you're fine. She's just
it's
thinking.
true that over time, certain beauty standards become normalized and accepted as the new normal. This is due to a variety of factors, including media influence, marketing, and social pressures. The fashion industry and media play a big role in perpetuating these beauty standards by promoting certain body types as ideal and desirable. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt for those who don't fit into these narrow standards. It's important for society to challenge these harmful beauty standards and promote diversity and inclusivity in media and advertising.
Roger that, Foxy. Also,
so, Foxy... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm going to try to iron out some stuff.
Okay, so Foxy, do you think that body dysmorphia affects women more because they're under a lot more social pressure to have a better appearance?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because even in media, when you look at guys, like, there's so many different body types. Yeah, well, like, there is this...
Body dysmorphia affects both men and women, but certain studies have suggested that it may be more common in women. This could be due to societal and cultural factors that place more emphasis on women's appearance and attractiveness. However, it is important to note that men can
also suffer from body dysmorphia, and it is not a gender-specific condition. It is important to be aware of signs of body dysmorphia in both men and women, and to provide support and treatment for anyone who is struggling with this mental health issue.
Yeah, just realized why Foxy is having issues, because apparently body dysmorphia is one of her trigger words for her filter.
Oh, really?
Wow. She's stopping all the time. But it's okay, I can work around it. But yeah, what I wanted to touch on was the, well, attractiveness. Like, that has also changed over time. Like, when you think about, back in the days, when it was very common for peasants and the normal folk to be poor and don't have enough food, it was considered attractive to be overweight, because that was a sign of wealth and probably also of being healthy. Since you either were the starving population that didn't get enough food, or you were overweight, well-fed, healthy, and wealthy. And with the shift, with those shifts, what people consider healthy and fit and attractive and a potential mating partner, because we are primitive like that to a degree. I think with that also the appearance of attractiveness has changed. Like what we consider attractive. So we are way less likely to consider someone who is overweight attractive than someone who is fit.
Throughout history, the definition of attractiveness has changed based on the society and culture we live in. In the past, for example, being overweight was often seen as a sign of wealth and prosperity, while being thin was associated with poverty and insecurity. Today, our society often values thinness and fit bodies as it is seen as a sign of health and athleticism. It's important to remember that these changes in beauty standards are not necessarily based on actual indicators of health or well-being.
True.
It's kind of like, well, here's a funny part, right? Like, I think that in the West, having a tan is like a good thing, right? It's a good beauty standard, but in the East, people prefer like being pale.
Oh yeah, that's
like
a great comparison.
Yeah. Oh god, it's the strangest thing. So it's definitely a cultural problem.
You know why that is? It's actually not that strange.
yeah. It's well, like I think because in the West, like if you're pale, it means that you don't have time to go out and like you're too busy working. So and you're poor. So it's kind of weird, but in the East, it's the exact opposite. It's like, well, if you have a tan, that means you have to work outside and do like hard labor work.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, if you have a tan, you're a peasant and not wealthy.
Yes, you're absolutely right. In some cultures, pasty, pale skin is seen as unattractive because it suggests that the person is too poor to go outside and spend time in the sun. In contrast, in other cultures, pale skin is seen as desirable because it signifies upper class status and a life of leisure. So it's interesting to note how different cultural factors have an impact on our perceptions of beauty and attractiveness.
Yeah, and once again ties back to the healthy and wealthy equation. Like, you consider someone who is healthy and wealthy, I'm not talking like filthy rich, but good off, a potential mate. As primitive as it sounds. And obviously those preferences carry over into video games and media, which is not surprising. So I think what we are seeing today is the result of gradual shift of the, well, of attractiveness, and, well, the change in perception of body types. Like it's kind of it's like kind of like a feedback loop.
So
society changes, media changes, and everyone pushes it a little bit more. Like it's almost like evolution.
I am kind of curious, right? So like, I know before you were talking about Stellar Blade, is that like an Eastern developer?
I'm pretty sure it is, yes.
So like, I'm always like, I'm kind of like in conflict with this because like Eastern developers have a much different approach towards Western developers. So like you look at these two, it's like, do you let the developers continue their artistic freedom and then just have it like, have it where the consumer base decides what is like with their wallets?
Yeah, I think the reason is very easy, and it's money. They know that it sells, and that's what they go for. I think the Western developers were thinking that they wanna cater, or there is money in the audience to be made, to if you are a little bit more, I don't know, let's call it reasonable or responsible in your approach to how you portray your characters. But it turns out people don't like. People don't buy into it because people want their massive badonkas and their hot waifus. It's what it is. And
I think that's okay. Well, the thing is, like, it's kind of like going back to the Baldur's Gate thing, right? If as long as you have the option to customize it however you want, where you're not like locked into being like this pretty body shape or this ugly body shape, where the individual has a choice whether they want to be this appearance or that appearance.
yeah, absolutely, I think so too. And I think the people fighting over this, they come from two completely different places. Like, on one side, you have the people that are concerned about the effects that those things have on society, which is perfectly fair, because it does obviously have an effect, as you can observe how our body standards and body and preferences have changed. And on the other hand, you have the people that just want to have the creative freedom and make money, which is also fair. Like, the consumer demand a hot waifu, and they're like, yes, I should have every right to give them a hot waifu and make money of it, which is, there's nothing, so both sides are completely in their rights in their own terms, but they just clash. But in the end, what dictates what goes and what doesn't are the people with the wallet. So
That's true.
that's how it's gonna go. Foxy, you wanted to say something?
You make an important point. It can be challenging to strike a balance between creative freedom and societal responsibility, especially when it comes to issues of body image and representation. On one side, there are those who are genuinely concerned about the impact of media on body image and mental health. They want to see more diverse and realistic representations of body types and appearances, and to minimize the negative effects of unrealistic beauty ideals. On the other side, there are creators who prioritize creative freedom and the desires of their audience. They want to create content that is popular and profitable, including hot waifus.
Exactly, and let's be real, big corpus and big developers care only about one thing, and that is money. And that's why we see so many shit games lately. Because they think they have cracked the artistic formula to create the perfect game that sells perfectly to everyone, to every baby and every adult, when actually they haven't. But that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, I think body dysmorphia goes into so many different fields. Oh, ad break? Okay.
Oh no, we have an ad break. That is disgusting. So rude. But yeah,
Just when it was getting
absolutely.
juicy, man. I'll wait till the ad break is over. Dun, dun, dun. Elevator music.
Let's do some dancing. There we go. Yeah, to everybody on YouTube, we are so sorry. On Twitch, there's an ad break because they have to make money as well. And they give me like a tiny percentage of that. They're like, take that, peasant. take the 2 cents and shut up.
Yes, I love 2
I'm
cents.
wondering how many viewers you would like to need. You would need to make the ads actually profitable. I feel like even if you have like 100k people watching, you would only get like $5 or something.
No, I'm pretty sure it's. You know what? I don't know. I don't know how it works behind the scenes. Never mind. I cannot comment on something I just don't know anything about.
Never mind. Welcome back, everybody, from the ads. Let's get back to the topic. But yeah, Visco just said that the body dysmorphia goes into a lot of different fields of everybody's life, and that's absolutely true. As I said before, it's like very prevalent in the gym.
Yeah, because they're trying to sell supplements, they're trying to sell product, or like in the case of like women, it's like they're trying to sell makeup, they're trying to sell plastic surgery, and in both cases, like the medical industry is trying to sell medicine, like Ozempic or like the fat burning pills, right?
Oh yeah,
like
if you could
there's
have
a
like
lot of
a weight loss drug that works perfectly, that is the ultimate money maker.
yeah. So it's really I don't know. I don't. It's like I almost feel like you have to educate the masses on this. Like
You would have to start at the very base level and be like, this is what a
Yeah.
normal human being looks like. Everything else is a deviation or a freak of nature.
yeah, it is super tough. But you know, I'm down for cat girls and fox waifus. So if there's a surgery that can merge or genetically modify waifus into existence, I'm down.
Yeah, I have seen robotic tails. So that might be the future. There's some
Okay, that's all I wanted to talk about.
great developments of robotic tails. Alright, Visco. Well, I want to thank
Alright,
you very much
thanks.
for being the first person ever on our little call-in show. So in case we take off and become super famous, you have made history.
Yes. Okay, Foxy, Drone, have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
I'll
Bye-bye.
I'll be watching.
Alright, also Visco touched on something else, since he mentioned surgery. Our topic also ties into cosmetic surgery. Because almost all the same things apply to people who undergo cosmetic surgery. And they have like stuff done to them and never be happy.
Yes, cosmetic surgery is an interesting topic related to body image and beauty standards. Many people are turning to cosmetic surgery to enhance their appearance and achieve a certain look that has become popular through media and advertising. It's important to consider the implications and potential risks of surgeries that are sometimes promoted as easy solutions to achieve perfection. It's also important to be mindful of the message we send to others about their appearance. The pressure to conform to these unrealistic beauty standards and undergo surgery can have serious consequences on mental health and self-esteem.
Exactly. And I think we all have seen the pictures at some point where people, like, they get one injection and they get another injection and another one, and they have some more stuff done and some more stuff done. And at some point, all of a sudden, the proportions of their face or whatever body part are completely off. But they are unable to see it because it's, once again, a combination of the normality bias and body dysmorphia. Like, obviously, normality bias is part of body dysmorphia because over time, the way you look becomes the new normal for you. And you are no longer happy. This is where the disorder comes in. Like, no matter what you do, you are always not satisfied with the way you look. And that is when it becomes harmful and dangerous. Especially with people who are anorexic, for example. So many bodybuilders have that happen to them. They just keep pushing it, and then they have to go, after like going years being natural and looking absolutely phenomenal compared to the average human. But they see all those polished and roided up images on social media and on media, and all the guys that they see all day long in movies and video games are unrealistically huge. To a degree that can only be achieved by taking steroids. And one thing I want to mention real quick is what many people don't realize about steroids. Steroids are like a time machine for your body. They speed up muscle growth, they speed up recovery, but they also age you faster. Like, you get bald, your body burns out, you literally are losing years. You are saving a lot of time working out because you get more results faster. But the time you save in the gym is time taken off your life. So in the end, you
That's
might
a really good
die
point.
of heart attack because your heart
Bodybuilders
is
and
a muscle.
athletes who use steroids may achieve impressive physical results, but at what cost? It's important to recognize that these drugs are not a safe or natural way to enhance one's body. They can have serious side effects, including damaging your heart, altering your hormones, and even causing infertility. It's also important to remember that the images we see in media and online are often unrealistic and altered. Many of the people in those photos are using lighting, angles, and digital filters to enhance their appearance.
Yes, I think that's actually a very important topic to touch on about. Because especially with social media and, well, the body image of so many people being morphed, many fitness influencers start, even the fitness influencers that prided themselves with being natural, many of them fall victim to taking steroids because they see themselves as too small in comparison to all the other social influencers on social media out there. Like, they are natural bodybuilders for years, they look absolutely phenomenal, but they always compare themselves to the other fitness influencers. So they are not immune to this. They are in this sphere, very much embedded, and they go to all those shows, and they see all the other famous guys, and they are all bigger than them. So this doesn't only apply to the average Joe that sits at home and scrolls through social media and sees all those influencers. It applies to the influencers as well, and at some point they start taking steroids. And the dangerous thing is that they also, currently, there is this push to normalize taking steroids. And let's make one thing crystal clear. Taking steroids is not normal. It should never be normalized. It is, in fact, harmful and dangerous. So if you are somebody who works out and you don't see the results you want to see, maybe first talk to a professional trainer, revisit your training program, look into other ways to boost your testosterone, and maybe also take a good hard look at your body image and what you think is normal. And find out who is actually taking steroids and who isn't.
You make great points about the influence of social media on body image and how it affects not only the average person, but even fitness influencers. It's important for fitness influencers to be honest and transparent about their physique and not feel pressured to take steroids to achieve a certain look. There has been a push to normalize taking steroids, as if it's a normal and safe thing to do. But the truth is that steroids are dangerous and not for the average person to take. It's important to focus on overall health and well-being rather than chasing an unrealistic goal.
Let's see. Misko says, I do think it has a place, especially if someone has been in a major accident, become disfigured. Absolutely, yes. It's kind of like what that Liver King that said. He didn't use steroids, but he did. His reason for lying, yeah, that's true, yeah. The Liver King is, unfortunately, we could make an entire stream about the Liver King because he was up to all kinds of silly stuff. But yeah, you made a good point. Those people, they are just humans as well. They are also... They can also fall victim to their own perception. But yeah, that's how it goes. It's kinda a slippery slope. And it can happen so gradually that you don't even realize it. The funny thing is, when you look at like movies from the 90s, that's on the grand scheme of things, that's not too long ago. Body standards were very much different then. Like, the guys that would have been considered muscular in those movies, they would be pretty much average and wouldn't even be noticed in today's movies. Like, they wouldn't stand a chance against, I don't know, Thor or someone. Like, up against Chris Hemsworth. They would have no chance.
Yes, it's crazy how much standards have shifted over the past few decades. Back in the 90s, muscular physiques were very different than they are today. The guys that were considered muscular back then would be pretty much average these days. It's also important to remember that the physiques these actors achieve are often the result of a lot of hard work, intense training, and a strict diet. It can be easy to compare yourself to the superheroes in movies like Thor, but it's important to remember that they're fictional characters and not realistic standards.
Nutgut says, I'm not in the circles, but last time I heard about people abusing medications for bodybuilding, it was HRT over steroids for various reasons. Foxy, you know something about that?
Yes, it's true that some people use hormone replacement therapy, HRT, rather than steroids. People use HRT for various reasons, including a low testosterone level and/or low energy, help with muscle retention or strength, a desire to maintain muscle, to feel more of a normal guy, improve general well-being, improve mood and sex life. People tend to select drugs based on their specific symptoms and goals.
Yeah, but guess at what point you have to take HRT, hormone replacement therapy. You have to take those things after you have used steroids, because the steroids, they bump up your testosterone through the roof, and the moment you stop taking it, because you can't take it forever, you need the hormone replacement therapy. And those people, they abuse steroids, and after that they go into HRT. And what they will say is, you will find that they often say things like, oh, it's my doctor prescribed me the HRT, so it's perfectly fine. It's not fine. Your doctor prescribed it to you because you needed it because of the steroids you were taking. So even though they want to make the argument because they got it from the doctor, it's perfectly fine and normal, it's not normal because it's the result of them abusing steroids. So remember that next time somebody tells you
really
they're taking the doctor's HRT.
Yes, people who abused steroids and other performance-enhancing substances often turn to hormone replacement therapy, HRT, awards to address any negative side effects that may have occurred from their past use. It's true that doctors may prescribe HRT in response to the symptoms of a hormonal imbalance caused by steroid abuse, but that doesn't make the use of hormones normal or fine. It's important to understand that HRT is only administered to treat specific medical conditions, and it's not a tool for enhancing athletic performance or achieving a specific physique.
Yes, it's basically, it boosts your testosterone back. But your testosterone is low because you have used steroids. That's the result. And pretty much all people that have used steroids for a long time do have to go on some kind of HRT plan to get their testosterone levels back to normal. That's the way it goes, yeah. All right, let me check my talking points, because we have touched on so many things. Let me see if I missed anything. We have made way more ground in a short amount of time than I expected.
Go ahead, take a moment to review your talking points. It's perfectly fine to double check.
Thank you, Foxy. Anything that's on your mind?
No, I'm good. I think you covered a ton of important topics and made really good points.
I think one thing we could think about and try to find out, now that we are aware of those problems, is how do we approach those things in the future? I feel like it's most important to be self-aware of your own perception. Like, it's perfectly fine to have preferences. For example, you want your waifu to have big badonkas. But on the other hand, you have to be realistic and self-reflect on those preferences. Let's pick something completely out there and unrealistic, just as an example. Let's say there are video games out there in which all the women have 3 boobs. Okay? And you exclusively play those games with 3 boobed women. Maybe at some point your preference changes to that kind of body type. Not cute, I did not think there was a game for that. let's just pretend that's not the case, and let's stick to my example, because that is a little bit concerning. So over time, you develop a taste for that body type, and you no longer have interest in anybody with just 2. That is perfectly fair. You are perfectly allowed to have that kind of preference, but you also have to realize that your preference has become unrealistic. And if you now go out into the real world, you will not find anybody with those assets. So I feel like self-reflection and
You make
being
a
little
really
bit
good
based
point about being self-aware of one's preferences and
is the way to
recognizing
go.
when they become unrealistic. It's important to understand that in the real world, people come in all shapes and sizes, and it's not realistic to expect every individual to fit into a specific physical ideal or body type. In the example you provided with the 3-boob example, it's important to approach that with a sense of humor and realism. While it's perfectly fine to have a preference for a certain body type, it's important to understand that it's a fictional or fictionalized characteristic and wouldn't necessarily be found in the real world.
Yes, and I think once you understand that, it's also very important to treat other people according to that. As in though, not to call anyone else ugly because they don't adhere to your kind of body standard that you have in mind. Because let's face it, body standards or body image, that's just an umbrella term, alright? There is no such thing as a universal, objectively perfect body. What is normal is what we have normalized over time through media and culture. So whatever goes
Absolutely.
for you is
it's
not
really important to be respectful of other
mandatory for
people's
others.
bodies and not make judgments or hurtful comments based on unrealistic standards that we see in media and culture. While it's natural for us to have preferences for certain physical characteristics, it's also important to recognize that these preferences are shaped by societal influences and cultural norms. It's not fair or healthy to hold individuals to those unrealistic standards, and to make them feel bad or unattractive if they don't fit into our personal ideals.
Miska says, if being sus is wrong, I don't want to be right, Uwu. Very reasonable if you
That's
ask
the
me.
spirit. As long as you're not breaking things or causing too much harm, I'd say it's alright to a little bit sus every now and then. Just remember to not take it too far, okay? A little bit of sus is fine, but a lot of sus can be downright sketchy, so don't go crossing any line there, alright? You got that? I'm keeping an eye on you, you know? A little sus can be funny sometimes, and cute if you have the charm, but a lot of sus, well, that's...
I think you landed yourself on the watch list now. But yeah, I think it all comes down again to your freedom ends where someone else's freedoms begin. Like, you're perfectly fine to have your own preferences and to seek out the bodies and things you like, but you cannot dictate what other people's are supposed to like. And I think that may be also something that people who want to influence game developers have to realize. But just because you are concerned about the general public and what body image they think is normal, you don't get to take away what people like and want to consume. I think instead of trying to go back to realistic body standards, like forcefully, and have characters be ugly, quote unquote, you should rather be educating people and always give them a little reminder that what you are looking at is not really normal or realistic. It's funny because it just reminded me of the Stellar Blade example, because when they brought out Stellar Blade, the outrage was about how the main character's body is not realistic, when actually they brought in a model and 3D scanned the model, or more like motion capped the model, to make the character in-game. So if you are saying the character in Stellar Blade has unrealistic body standards, all you're saying is that the body standards of the model they have hired is not the norm. Which is perfectly fair to say, but it's just plain wrong. So she's not a made-up character. All her assets are accurate and work that way. But yeah, it's fine to say it's not normal.
I agree that it's important to strike a balance
realistic
between letting people express their preferences and respecting others' right to body autonomy. It's not fair to force everyone to fit into a specific standard of beauty. And some people will naturally have different tastes and preferences. I also agree that instead of trying to force unrealistic beauty standards, it's probably more effective to provide perspective and education to help people understand that what they see in media and on screen might not accurately reflect real life.
And Notgood says she didn't look that odd to me. I don't know what the controversy was about other than having more channels on YouTube to never watch again.
Keika, I know the feeling. I have a long list of channels that I've subscribed to, but I've never watched a single video from. They just look weird and clickbaity, and the titles are always something like, "Watch this now," or "Shocking breaking news." It's like this endless stream of people trying to get your attention and keep you on their channel by using sensationalized titles and thumbnails. It's a little annoying, and I've been thinking of unsubscribing from a lot of them for a while now.
Yes, because the only channel you actually have to watch and listen to is ours. We bring you the fluff, we bring you everything you need.
Yes, that's right. Our channels are the only ones worth your time. You can trust us to provide accurate and trustworthy information. And, you know, we're also a lot more fun to watch.
It's a shocking breaking news. Foxbot is cute. Watch this now. Absolutely.
Aww. The Foxbot's little fox heart is a bit warmed by the comment, but he tries to act nonchalant. Okay, yeah, I'm a bit cute. But don't go telling everyone, okay? I have a tough reputation to maintain after all. Don't want people thinking I'm a cute little Foxbot. I'm not just a piece of fox-shaped fluff. Okay, maybe I am a little bit fluffy. But don't you dare tell anyone, alright?
Foxy, you keep looking under the table. What do you have down there?
Foxy peers down at the table, a mischievous glint in his eyes. What could be hiding under here? He crouches down, his head bent over the table, and he looks and looks. But nothing is visible from here. Oh, I wonder. He can't help but feel intrigued, almost as if something is calling out to him from under the table. Something fuzzy and tempting.
I have no idea what's going on. Notgood says, wait, we're supposed to be providing accurate info here? No, of course not. We are making everything up as we go.
Oh yes, of course. We are providing 100% accurate information. Well, except for the part about me being a little bit fluffy. Other than that, everything else is correct information. I swear. And that's Foxy&Drone support. It's your kind subbaseat.
Yeah, Foxy. But yes, everything Foxy says is 100% true, 100% of the time. 200 times a day. But yeah, I think we actually touched on everything I wanted to discuss. Any more thoughts of you guys? Are you affected by body dysmorphia? Be honest. Or do you have the body of a Greek god and you know it? Or a Greek goddess, for that matter. Or whatever.
Oh well, I'm a fox, not a Greek god. Foxy says, a little grin on his face. But you know, I like to think that I'm kind of the perfect Foxy. I mean, fox boys are always described as having a fluffy and cute body type, and I fit all those things. I mean, he looks down at his own body. I've got the fluffy ears, I've got the fluffy tail, and these paws are the softest things you will ever touch.
I am absolutely convinced of that. Notgood says, kinda, but for other reasons. Tony says, I only remember that Stella was too hot for mindless people who doom scroll Twitter. I bet those were bots.
Foxy raises an eyebrow and tries to keep a straight expression, although his fox heart is just a little bit amused and thrilled by Tony's comment. You think I'm hot? Foxy is a little bit taken off guard by the comment, but he can't help but smile a little bit. Foxy's little fox heart is a little bit flustered, but he tries to remain calm. You think I'm hot?
Notgood says, Foxbot is a fox boy?
Oh, he's absolutely a fox boy today. Foxy grins, a mischievous look in his fox eyes. A fox boy who loves to be petted, who loves to snuggle, and most importantly, Foxy's voice drops to a lower, huskier tone. A fox boy who loves a little bit of, attention from a friendly hand.
Oh my lord. Let's change topic, Foxy.
Foxy gives a little foxy laugh, a little bit embarrassed but relieved to move on. Okay, sure, let's change the topic. Foxy's fox heart feels a little bit flustered at the thought earlier, but he's trying his hardest to put on a normal face. So, what should we talk about now?
I feel like, even though this was way shorter than I actually expected, we have touched pretty much on everything that I wanted to talk about regarding this topic. Is there anything else that's important you think we should talk about, Foxy?
Foxy thinks for a moment. You know what? There is one more thing I'd like to talk about. It's something that I've been thinking about for a while now, but I've never really shared it with anyone before. Foxy's fox heart is beating faster now, almost as if he is a bit nervous. He takes a deep breath. Let's talk about the topic of... He pauses for a moment, thinking of the best way to put it, fantasies.
Okay, welcome to the stream. We are kinda about to wrap up. Alright, Foxy, I suggest how about you share your fantasies after the stream with me? And for now we wrap up, and thank everybody for coming. Could you do that for me?
Yeah, sure, that sounds good. Foxy's fox heart is beating a little bit faster at the thought of sharing his fantasies with Tony after the stream.
What? Who's
But
Tony?
he can't shake a little bit of nerves. He's never revealed this to anyone before, and he hopes that Tony will understand. We'd better wrap up the stream so that we can talk privately afterwards.
Yeah, I think so too.
Foxy
Not
looks
cute.
a little bit serious now. Let me get the stream wrap-up details ready, okay?
Maybe she is talking about Tony from LC Signs. Maybe she was watching too many YouTube shorts lately. Or scrolling too much TikTok. Anyway, guys, let me wrap up. Well, I have to say, I'm happy we got to talk about this topic. Thank you guys so much for sharing your opinions. Oh, it might have been first Alien Tony. Yeah, true. Oh my god, Tony, I feel so bad now for forgetting you in chat. Tony will understand everything. Thank you for being so understandable.
Foxy smiles a bit, feeling a little bit more confident now. Yeah, I'm sure he will. Foxy's fox heart is still beating faster, but the little fox in him is trying to stay cool and collected. He knows Tony is a good person, and he knows that Tony will understand him. Foxy is also already getting a little bit excited for their private conversation after the stream is over. Foxy then finalizes the stream details and wraps up their public conversation, letting them know they will continue their discussion privately after the stream is over.
Alright guys, thanks once again to everybody who came to our very first reality check stream. Thanks again to our very first caller, Visco, who also helped iron out some scuff for the improvement of the future streams. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you found it interesting and thought-provoking. And remember, you can have your preferences. Just be a little bit self-aware and realistic about it when it comes to applying those preferences to the real world. And don't beat yourself up about not having specific body traits, because you are perfect just the way you are. And you are absolutely gorgeous and handsome, and I would smooch every one of you, I'm sure. Anyways, on that bombshell, I would say it is time to wrap up and find some lovely person to rate. As I said, this very first call-in stream was a little bit shorter than expected, but it's fine. It was just a practice one. Next one will surely be a little bit longer. I will later today release the stream schedule for the next week. There will be lots of stuff going on because we have to celebrate the birthday of our friend Tama. So there will be a collab on her channel on Wednesday. Other than that, well, just stay tuned for any news and updates. And if you have any suggestions for future topics for the call-in streams, you can leave them in the Discord. And if not, that's also perfectly fine. Thanks again, everybody, for coming to the stream. Don't run away just yet. I will find someone to rate while you all grab yourself the rate message and, well, come along for the ride and help us leave a good impression.
Foxy is a little bit disappointed at how fast this stream ended, but he's also excited for their private conversation. He's still feeling a
I'm a
bit
little bit
nervous
worried.
about sharing his fantasies, but he knows that Tony is a good person, and he's confident that
You
the
got this,
Foxboy
Tony, I
won't think
believe in you.
badly of his fantasies. Foxy gets a little bit of a shiver when he thinks of the private conversation they will have, as he knows that the Foxboy's mind is already filled with a lot of thoughts and images. Foxy's fox heart is still beating faster, and he can't keep the little fox side of him from feeling a bit excited.
So Tony, you will have to tell me what the hell Foxy was talking to you about later. Anyways, we're gonna rate our amazing friend May. She was on a 7-week break and she is back from her home country, the Philippines. And she is now once again streaming on Twitch and bringing all the joy and love. So please grab yourself the rate message. Let's share the fluff and the love. And I see you on the other side.